Hello dear students, welcome back. In the last video I have discussed about Nernst equation and related problems. If anybody not watched, you can watch those things and come back to present lecture, that is concentration cells. So what exactly concentration cells? So you can write definition. Two solutions of same material present with different concentration or pressures. Concentrations or pressures called as concentration cells. So here let us take the first case. So here the first case we are discussing two solutions of same material with different pressures. So there will be two hydrogen electrodes. This is anode, this is cathode. So anode and cathode, these two electrodes are at different pressures. So here hydrogen gas pressure is P1 atm, here hydrogen gas pressure is P2 atm. Now this different pressure drives the cell reaction, that is oxidation at anode, reduction at cathode, so that the electron flow happens from anode to cathode, and that's how the potential difference exists between these two cells and current carry from cathode to anode. Now we discuss, because concentrations are same here, only pressure is different. So gas concentration explained with pressure, so that two different pressures are at anode and cathode in this cell. So let us see the reactions at anode and cathode. Anode reaction will be H2 converted into 2H plus 2 electrons. So this is gas, this will be aqueous state, and the gas pressure is P1 atm. And coming to here, concentration of 2H plus is 1 m. Same way, cathodic reaction, how it happens? Cathode reaction will be 2H plus 2 electrons. So this H plus ion, whenever it touches to platinum electrode, it will become H2 gas. So this is the reduction reaction. Gas, this is 1 m H plus concentration, and this gas pressure is P2 atm. So these are the anode and cathode reactions. Now we can see total cell reaction, how it happens. So total cell reaction will be H2 gas converted into H2 gas, right? But here H2 gas, this is P1 atm and this will be P2 atm. You can add these two reactions so that you will get the resultant equation. If you want, just you can write H2 plus H2 gives rise to 2H plus 2 electrons. Same way, this is anodic reaction. Now cathodic reaction is what? 2H plus 2 electrons gives rise to H2. So here P1 atm, here P2 atm. So here concentrations are same. Then what you will get? H2P1 to H2P2. That's what I wrote here. So this is the overall reaction. Now total cell reaction. Now coming to cell representation. So cell representation will be here PT is the electrode. At anode what is happening? H2 gas, that to P1 ATM converted into H plus ion concentration, which is aqueous state 1M. Same way, this is the salt bridge between them, and other H plus ion. From cathode what reaction happens? H plus of cathodic solution converted into H2 gas, that pressure is P2 ATM. Same way it is also happening with PT electrode. This is how we can represent anode and cathode reactions. This is one way to represent. The other way is PT comma H2. This is at P1 and this one converted into HCl or 1mH plus concentration. From that itself even H2 gas is formed. So this is P2 and this happens with which electrode? PT electrode. This is another way to represent this cell. Coming to cell potential difference. So in this case E0 cell will be 0 because compositions are same. E0 cell we can take it as 0. So what will be the result, students? E cell equals to 0. Otherwise hydrogen electrode, so that E0 cell will be 0. So 0 minus 0.06 by 2, because 2 electron is the difference, log base 10. Here what we wrote? Product gas by reactant gas, so P2 by P1, because concentration of gas explained with pressure only, so that P2 by P1. Now E cell equals to 0 minus, so this will get 0.03 log base 10 P2 by P1. So here what are the conditions for spontaneity? This conditions for spontaneity question came even in 2026 January session. Conditions for spontaneity. So we already know that delta G supposed to be less than 1. So negative delta G means the process is spontaneous. So delta G supposed to be negative and E cell should be positive. E cell value is greater than 0. That is how the conditions for spontaneity. To get E cell positive, what supposed to be greater, students? Here P1, if it is greater than P2, this minus becomes plus, so that P1 supposed to be greater than P2. This is most important point. That is about the concentration change with respect to pressure. Coming to the second one, hope it is clear, students. Just here 2 electrodes are with the same concentration with the same electrodes, but pressures are different. So that pressures drive this process, so that at anode oxidation happens, at cathode reduction happens. So when the oxidation reduction happens simultaneously, the electrons move from anode to cathode. That's how the potential difference exists and cell will start producing current. And here what are the reactions at anode cathode, how to represent for the cells, and finally what is the condition for spontaneity. So condition for spontaneity is P1 supposed to be greater than P2. Hope it is clear. Now coming to second type, that is concentration is different Same material, here also zinc, here also zinc. Solution electrolyte is ZnSO4, here also ZnSO4, but concentration of first one is anode is C1, concentration of cathode is C2. Now what are the reactions happens here we can discuss. At anode what reaction happens? So Zn converted into Zn2 plus 2 electrons, and here this is solid and this will be C1 concentration. This will exist at aqueous state, so that aqueous medium. And cathodic reaction, what happens at cathode? So Zn plus 2 converted into Zn by accepting electrons. So this is basic reduction process. The first one is oxidation process. So here concentration of Zn2 plus is C2m, and this will be solid only. Now if you add it, overall reaction will get, overall reaction is just, if you add this you will get resultant Zn plus 2, here C2 concentration converted into Zn plus 2 C1 concentration. So this is about the overall cell reaction. Now cell representation will be, so Zn converted into Zn2 plus at anode, so this will be C1 concentration and middle salt bridge. At cathode Zn2 plus converted into Zn, so here C2 concentration and solid. That's how we can represent. And cell potential will be, so cell potential here also E0 cell will be 0 because same electrodes, right? E0 cell will be 0. So E cell equals to, means E cell equals to 0 minus 0.06 by 2 log base 10 C1 by C2, because this is the product, this is the reactant, so C1 by C2 you can write it. So here E cell equals to 0.03 log base 10 and C1 by C2. To get E cell positive, more positive, what's supposed to be the condition for spontaneity? Conditions for spontaneity, so spontaneity will be delta G supposed to be less than 0, E cell supposed to be greater than 0, and here C2 should be greater than C1. So here minus, right? E cell equals to minus 0.03 log base 10 C1 by C2. If you write reverse, plus 0.03 log base 10 C2 by C1, so that C2 supposed to be greater, so that E cell will be more positive, and that is the condition for spontaneity. Just note this. Let's start problems on concentration cells. Find the EMF of cell where Cu converted into Cu plus 2. It is at anode, and this reaction at cathode. So what happens? Cu becomes Cu2 plus with 2 electrons. This happens at anode. At cathode Cu plus 2 accept 2 electrons and become Cu. So here concentration of Cu2 plus at anode is 0.4 m and concentration of Cu2 plus at cathode is 0.8 m. So now what we can conclude in this? So E cell equals to 0 minus, because here compositions are same. So Cu2 plus cathode and Cu2 plus anode, so together will be 0. 0.06 by constant, how many electron difference? 2 electron difference. So log, here what we can write, if we add these two reactions, so overall reaction will be, overall reaction is just Cu plus 2 converted into Cu plus 1. So here what happens is just Cu2 plus converted into Cu2 plus. So concentration of cathode is 0.8 m and this will be 0.4 m, because this is anodic ion, this is cathodic ion. So what we can write it, products by reactants means 0.4 by 0.8, which can be written as, so what you will get is just 1 by 2 you will get log base 10. So E cell equals to minus 0.03 log base 10, 1 by 2 you will get. So this we can write it as plus 0.03 log base 10, 2 you will get. So log 2 is what? 0.3010. So 0.03 into 0.3010. So if you simplify this, you will get 3 into 10 power minus 2 into 3 into 10 power minus 1, which is equals to 9 into 10 power minus 3. So this is the E cell value for this reaction. Hope it is clear, students. Coming to then secondary, this question based on the pressure difference for gaseous electrodes. Materials, composition, everything is same, only pressure at anode and cathode will differ. So find the EMF of cell. PtCl2 becomes Cl minus, here what are the reactions? Cl minus converted into C2. You can write the anode and cathodic reactions. So anodic reaction will be Cl2, 2Cl minus, anode oxidation, right? So Cl2 plus 2 electrons, and similarly cathodic, here pressures are P1 atm at anode, and same way reverse reaction happens at cathode. Cathode P2 pressure converted into 2Cl minus by accepting 2 electrons. So here what we can write it is E cell equals to E naught cell minus 0.06 by n log base 10. Here overall reaction, if you write P2 and P1, right? If you want, you can write Cl2 P2 atm. Just you have to add this to get the overall reaction. Cl2 P1 atm. So the same thing we are writing here. Products are P1 by P2. So this value will be 0 minus 0.06 by n value is what, students? 2 log base 10 p1 by p2. So this can be written as plus 0.03 log base 10 p2 by p1. So to be spontaneous, what is the condition, students? So spontaneous or spontaneity conditions: delta G supposed to be less than 0, E supposed to be more than 0, and to get E cell more than 0, what is the pressure condition? P2 should be greater than P1. That's how we can discuss. So I'm doing all the concepts in step by step with the questions. If anyone need complete chapter, you can watch all the lectures, and please like and subscribe, and I am going to teach all the remaining concepts also in the coming videos, so don't miss. Thank you.